Welcome to the Draft Board Hockey Show, episode 14. I'm Mark and my boy Linc from New Wave Hockey. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. It's been busy. We've been really busy, honestly. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm currently working on a list for 2026, and I'm working on a top 96, like a first three rounds of the this year's draft. So we're getting very busy. We're churning out a lot of stuff.
More time than I do. You got a lot more time on your hands than I do.
Well, I've just been traveling too. I'm actually, if you want to play a fun game of where Linc is in the world right now, I'm in Edinburgh, Scotland.
What?
So it's really cool. So I'm having a good time here. Actually, after this podcast, after we stop recording, I'm going with my friends to pick up a kilt that we're renting, and then we're going to go around Edinburgh and go to various pubs in the kilts that we have rented. So it's gonna be a fun night.
I hope you don't get beat up for that kind of shenanigans.
No. Apparently, it's what people do. It's like,
okay. I don't know. I don't know what the rituals are in Edinburgh, but
it's interesting. He told me this is the move. I was like, okay, we'll do it. And
this is the move, and then they make fun of you. But okay, that's cool.
That's what I'm prepared to happen. So we'll see.
Listen, I want before we begin our episode today, I want to let everyone know that tomorrow we're doing a mock draft with 5 other YouTube / hockey pundits, and it is gonna be a blast. Top 32,
huge.
You don't want to miss tomorrow's episode. Sunday, we are releasing that. Also, I'm heading over to Montreal in a few days, and I want our followers or subscribers or whoever to let me know what's the best poutine place in Montreal, in and around Montreal. I am a poutine fanatic. You know what? And it's got to be, I'm a purist. It is, you go with the classic fries, gravy, cheese. That's it. Don't give me other stuff. I am a purist when it comes to poutine, and I'm excited about that. I'm going to hit 2 NHL games. Maybe we're going to head over to Blainville Boisbriand to see Justin Carbonneau, who we're talking about today. So exactly. I'm kind of excited. I'm like 3 games on the docket possibly this weekend. Linc,
gotta love it.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be real fun.
Actually, you know who they're playing on Saturday, eh?
The Habs?
No, yeah, the Habs Flyers, baby.
I know, Habs Flyers.
Get into the game skate. I'm gonna get myself a Mishkov signature, possibly. Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, and the other news about the Flyers. Torts is gone. Au revoir, mon ami.
I tweeted out the second I landed in here, and it actually happened while the day I landed in Edinburgh, and I was so happy. I tweeted out a picture of just my joy and jubilation. I will say just Torts. I think he's gonna get another job. I think he's gonna get hired again. I think a team like New York or Buffalo could really benefit from his kind of coaching style, where he just gets a lot from a little, and they don't have a lot of big stars, I guess. He wasn't going to work out with Michkov. It just it wasn't going to happen. And hey, one game with Brad Shaw, 3-point night for Michkov. Say what you will. I've been talking about Brad Shaw all year, and there could be a David Carl rumors. There could be anybody else, but I'm happy with
Rick Tockett's on the top.
I would rather I would either go Dave Carl, but I low key really like Brad Shaw, who is our interim right now. People again, I've heard from people for years that he is he was about to be hired away for other assistant or maybe even head coaching jobs somewhere else. He's a great coach from what I hear. So I'm glad that he gets his shot. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people down the stretch. He might ruin the Flyers' chances at Michael Misa, but we'll see.
We want to be in the top 5. Come on. You know what? Listen, don't start winning games this close to the end. Come on, Flyers. What are you doing to us here? The other big news. Okay, so we're talking about Justin Carbonneau today. However, another thing that dropped this week was Craig Button's list, and there are some interesting things going on here. So, the first thing that pops out to me, James Hagan's at 6. So that's got to be hurting your eyeballs. But
boy.
Cameron Schmidt. So let's talk about James Hagan's at 6 there. Linc, I know that probably hurts you, right?
Well, yes. And I'll talk about it for a few reasons. Number one, I kind of don't understand. Well, I'll kind of just go through it because there's McQueen, there's Martone, and there's Frondell above him. And those are 3 players that I really kind of can't see being above Hagan's in terms of, I think Hagan's is the best shot at being a 1C out of those three. I feel like two of those guys are clear set at wingers, and then McQueen, I feel like could probably be not 1C, but a center as well. And I also think that there has been a massive amount of disrespect towards James Higgins this year and what he's accomplished. Again, he's been point per game in the NCAA. People can talk all they want about, he gets too fancy with the puck. He makes some mistakes. He's not what Celebrini was. But I feel like a lot of what people are going through with Higgins is a bit of hype fatigue. He's an insanely creative player. He's a really great playmaker. And I see a really smooth skater there. Not the most fast player in the draft, but he's very smooth. He can weave. He can have a lot of edge work. I've moved Higgins down to 3. I won't lie to you. It does hurt because I know that he's probably going to play another year of NCAA hockey. But I think moving him outside of the top 3 is a bit disingenuous. It kind of just rubs me the wrong way, and I really don't see a player outside of the top 3 that can push Higgins, Schaefer, or Misa out. I've been saying this since December. Like, that's kind of how it felt.
He had himself a game yesterday.
He really did. Oh, man.
Like that game yesterday, that pass.
Say what you will, but in a big game, he plays a different role. He plays a very gritty type of role. You saw this in the World Juniors against Canada, against Finland. He only got 1 goal throughout those 2 games, but he was a workhorse. I remember I watched. He was somebody that, again, he might be hard to push off the puck. He's a smaller guy, but he's a guy that will try, and he's a dude that really gives a lot of effort. I've been impressed with how he's had the season, and I think the game against Bentley, it was a screecher. It shouldn't have been that close, but hey, he stepped up when it matters, and I'm a big fan of him for it.
Okay, so I can see your point there. Now 8, Cameron Schmidt. Whoa. Yeah, you know what? Listen, I don't know why he's so high on Cameron Schmidt. And listen, at the beginning of the season, Cameron Schmidt was on an absolute tear, and he was scoring goals like it was nothing. Kind of died down, like the attrition thing is a true thing, and you always have to look like how consistent are they throughout the season? Can they last the whole season? And he's kind of slowed down a little bit. The other thing is he's 5'8", and so yeah, you know what? That one was a head scratcher for me. Like, I mean, honestly, I see him more like later first, maybe even into the second round, depending on, if teams want bigger players, then he might drop, right? Think of Gavin Brimley, who was, in my opinion, a better player than Cameron Schmidt, and he dropped a second on a deeper draft, but nevertheless.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was a kind of a head scratcher for me. It was a Cameron Schmidt at 8. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have had Cameron Schmidt out of their first round, even, since like February. It's kind of a thing where we've realized Cameron Schmidt for who he is. Again, he's a really solid scorer. That part's not in question. Great skater, but the size does count when you move up to the big level, and he is benefiting from the WHL, which kind of caters towards his size. Well, another thing that I wanted to point out, he's really dropped off in production. He was on a tear at the beginning of the year. He really looked like he was going to be the best, I guess, goal scorer in the WHL, but he only has, he only has 40 goals. I guess that sounds really weird to say, but with the start that he had, finishing with only 78 points and 40 goals seems a little bit low to me. I don't know. That's kind of like,
you know what? Like I said, I think I don't know why he's got him so high, but anyways, I meane that's a personal opinion. But because he's only 2 behind James Higgins. Like, come on now. All right, so if we keep on going down, so we got Cole Reshny at 11 is a little high. Let's keep going there.
I do want to really point out Victor Eklund at 9. It does rub me the wrong way. I'm a big Eklund fan. That's all I'll say. Yeah. I'll also say Cameron Reed at 12 is a little high for a 5'11" defenseman.
Yeah, he's got him ahead of Smith and Merca. That's kind of Keep going.
So yeah, Malcolm
Bill's
Spence,
on it at 18. I'm sure you're happy about that.
I love it. Another one that I thought I've heard people give him flack for was 19 Joshua Ravensburger, and a lot of people have taken him out of their first round, despite him being obviously built to be a really solid goaltender, 6'5". He's not really performing to the standard that people were expecting to at the WHL level. So moving down, everything else like after that.
Well,
my boy,
we talked about Norbert right there, 26.
Oh yeah, and Ryabkin. I guess we can talk about both Norbert and Ryabkin kind of being in the first round. I'm a little I'm really surprised no Bears in the first round. I guess we'll talk about it with Justin Carbonneau because I think all of no Bears production, if not,
there's highlights of Justin and Nobert together there.
Yeah,
so we'll talk about that. But yeah, Ryabkin's kind of fallen off the he's dropped a lot. I mean, some people have him a lot in a later first round, which I don't have a problem with. But I mean, he's starting to go into the second round too. So I mean, there's like I said, I saw him live this year, and I was like, what is going on here? Especially considering his D-1 season, you know what, in the NHL.
Yeah, it's kind of what's the less said about Ryabkin's season, the better, honestly. I've moved him even lower. So we'll see what happens. And I, of course, like just despite me, I believe Craig put both Nobert and Ryabkin ahead of my boy, Milton Gastrin.
Yeah.
I mean, I was right. That was just despite me. I guess.
I saw that. I said Gastrin's in the top 30 and Linc's going to be really happy.
Yeah. I think the last one to even like really discuss, I guess we can talk about like some of the second round ones because they're kind of funny. Logan Hensler at 31 is a little bit shocking to me. And then we can go all the way down to 54.
Right there. Right there.
Look, it's
Colin Potter at 54. Woo! You got Cameron Schmidt at 8, and you're dropping Colin Potter to 54. Like, that makes zero sense to me. Like, you know, I don't know who he's talking to or whatever, but Colin Potter is a phenomenal skater, and he logged big minutes in Arizona. And you know what? And he's a 07 NCAA player, so he's one of the youngest players in the NCAA. He's not a 06.
It's him or Boumediene who's the youngest player in the it's either him or Boumediene. Yeah. I think it might be Boumediene, but two of the youngest players in the NCAA right now. Of course, there's 5 freshmen in the NCAA with their draft season going on right now with Hagens, Van Sage, Boumediene, Potter, and Dakota Ram Mullen. But I've been going out on a limb and saying that Potter's had the second best season of those freshmen. He's been tremendous.
Oh yeah,
he's been excellent.
Yeah,
and that is kind of a slap in the face having that far down. When I know people who have put him in their top 10, I'm not that crazy about Colin Potter, but that he's really warranted.
No, that was the biggest head scratcher for me because I'm going down the list and I'm like, I don't see Potter, and I'm like, oh my god, 54. I was like, woo, that like I said, the two biggest ones that I was kind of questioning was Cameron Schmidt at 8 and Colin Potter at 54. Those were like the two biggest ones. I mean, you know, the other ones you can kind of fluctuate here and there. I don't have a problem with it. You see, you know, but the rest, that was pretty wild. But anyways, he likes to stir up the pot. I think sometimes he does it just for clickbait. He's like, let's shock the world here. Let's get people talking. So, but nevertheless, one of the players though that he had pretty high and justified, and that is our boy Justin Carbonneau, Blainville Boisbriand in Quebec. And yes, he had himself a decent season. Check this out.
Just a decent season.
89 points in 62 games. Look at the goals. 46 goals. And I just wanted to show, I have the top CHL points per game in the draft class. And Justin Carbonneau, he sets in at 8. He's got the second most goals behind Michael Misa, 46 goals. Misa has 62 goals. So, you know what? Guess what? The kid is a shooter, and he can snipe the puck. I will show clips in 1 second. What's your take? What's your initial introduction to Justin Carbonneau?
Again, I've talked about it so many times. Justin Carbonneau has been somebody that I have been high on. Before everyone got here, I was the cool kid who was like, look at this guy out of Quebec. He's going to be the next big goal scorer, man. I think you guys should really like take a look at him. And people have gone back and forth on him. And now everyone's like, oh, Justin Carbonneau is really cool. And I've been here the whole time. That's all I got to say.
Just pumping tires, eh? Just pumping tires. Okay, wait.
Pumping
Let
tires.
Let me show you.
Yeah, like with my job.
So he's at the bottom. He picks up the puck. Watch this release. Dink. The goalie didn't even move. Like, you're going to see it on the close-up in 1 second. The goalie didn't even move. Like, here's the slow motion. He picks up interception right there, and then watch this. Damn. Like, come on. That came off the stick right here. You'll see it right here. This thing comes off real quick. Wow. Okay, wait. One more just to.
Oh, yeah. I can watch these all day.
He's at the top there. He got the stick cocked and boom. Look at that. Look at that one-time. His one-timer is pretty sweet. Him and Frondell one-timers, 2 deadliest one-timers in the draft class. This one-timer. Yeah, so he's right at the top there. Look, he's got it. And then just like, come on. So yeah, so goal scorer. Passing is the one thing with Carbonneau that I have issues with is that he'll stick handle himself into a void. He tries to do a little too much. Sometimes he's got to start to use his teammates, and only when he's kind of forced into a position that he has to pass it. But there are other times when he could dish it off a little bit sooner. Like I said, if he could round out that part of his game, obviously he's a great goal scorer. We see that. But the passing, he's got to be a little bit more two-dimensional, I guess, like passing and shooting. So that's the one thing. And then his consistency too. He's a little inconsistent in games, and even like his effort level. Sometimes he's just kind of floating around. But for the most part, like I said, in terms of goal scoring, yeah, he can rifle the puck.
In terms of your concerns, absolutely. Very warranted. I will say there's a lot of question marks with Carbonneau in terms of what he can bring, because again, we talk about a goal scorer and we think of like guys like Austin Matthews and Alex Ovechkin. Like, oh, could we be seeing one of these people? But no, it's, again, you need to be way more rounded to be on their level. However, in Carbonneau's defense, going back to the leaderboard of like point per game, I would love to see that list, but January 1st on, because ever since January 1st, Carbonneau has been turning it up. I think he was around point per game around the World Juniors, and now he's like 20 points over point per game. He has just been insane. He has been the focal point of that Blainville Boisbriand offense. And again, from what I've found, because I actually did a prospect of the week about him, I did a really good report about him, and he, in my opinion, got progressively better over the year. He's been getting better at using his teammates. I'm not saying that he is a good distributor now. He needs to still work about that, and he still does stick handle himself to a corner. But one thing I will say, on the rush, this guy is deadly. He is getting way better at finding reads, at stick handling through guys. He gets his head, he gets his body through and involved in one of these fakes. It honestly looks like in basketball when you're like ball handling around a guy. It's crazy. He has been involved in a lot of crazy dekes recently, and I really, it's thrown me for a loop.
His stick handling is really good. Like he's got really good stick handling. He knows more of a north, he goes into a north-south kind of guy, but stick handling is really good. Let me show you one. We're going to show passing here. We're going to show that he does have the chops for it. So this is him, picks up the puck, and nice little dish there. I mean, you know what? And the funny thing is, if you look at the goalie committed because he thought, I'm coming up to Carbonneau. Carbonneau's going to shoot the puck, and then he just rifles it off. So that, nice little play right there. So, and that was No Bear, who we kind of mentioned in the top rankings there for Button. But yeah, so you know what? I think with a little bit more development and depending on where he goes, there's talk that he might go to the NCAA next year, which I think would be really good for his development. I think that would be a really good thing for him.
Oh my gosh. Justin Carbonneau in Maine or like UMass.
My good buddy that I grew up with and played hockey with is the assistant coach in Maine.
Okay, so then you got to get your good buddy.
Fortier, great guy.
You got to get Fortier to dial up the phone and be like, "Bonjour, Monsieur Carbonneau, come play for the Black Bears in Maine. Hang up, get it going. They're going to win a chip next year. Not going to be a first-round exit like they were this year." I think Carbonneau, in terms of physical strength, has another level to reach as well. People will talk about this. This guy's a tank. He is a lot bigger than he plays, he's a lot bigger than he plays. A lot bigger than he is. Yeah. He's one of the guys that I like to describe as he plays about like an inch or two bigger than he actually is listed at. And there's a lot of benefits from that. He is just, I don't know. I love the way that he shifts his weight around the ice. He's been getting way better at board retrievals just because he's just starting to win board battles as he starts to know. I'm a big dude, and in Quebec, he's one of the monopoly. He has got a monopoly on physicality there. So, I mean, I feel like he's doing a good job there. He's rounding himself out a lot better than I thought he was going to. I really think that he's like in contention for a top 10 pick in this draft. Because I think, and I'll go out and say that I think he's rounded himself out to this point. I have exactly 10 guys ranked over him. He's my number 11 skater, but I could totally see somebody valuing his services over somebody else in my top 10.
Yeah, I got him more in like the 15 to 20, 25 range. I think 15 to 20 is a fair for him. It's just, again, it's one of those things. This draft, it can go, in a lot of directions. And tomorrow we're going to see where it goes. I'm interested to see where some of our partners are going to, pick their players. I love that kind of stuff.
I'm very interested. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
I'm actually taking notes about every single pick because I'm actually so excited.
and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So tomorrow's going to be a blast. Anything else you want to talk about, Monsieur Carbonneau? Like I said, hopefully I get to see him, and please tell me if there's any good poutine places in and around Montreal. Looking forward to it.
Let him know. In terms of that, I think Carbonneau, I think he's somebody that is inherently strong as a leader as well. From a lot of things, from what I've seen on the ice, this guy leads by example. He's somebody like Caleb Denoyer, where I've taken notice of how his teammates react with him on the ice. Just the passion that he plays with. He gets everybody going after a goal. He is super animated.
You saw that one goal there where he just jumped up he
is. Both of them. Again, I watched a lot of interviews during the USA versus CHL showcase, which I was like, I watched a lot of the behind the scenes and those two were just big. Again, they were Quebecois players, and again, the QMJHL hasn't really put out like a lot of big talents recently compared to the OHL and the WHL. Like they've had the first overall picks and stuff like that, but these two guys controlling the locker room. Everyone's saying these two guys are the funniest guys on the team.
Oh, they were.
These two guys are some of the best leaders in the team. So they like to have fun, but they lead by example, which I really have enjoyed. So I think that's something worth mentioning with Carbonneau.
All right, so that's it for Monsieur Carbonneau, and you know what's next. Hey, yo, follower questions. Let's rock and roll. We got some good ones this week.
Got some good ones.
Actually,
these were great.
All right, so follower questions. Question number one, we got question for the next episode. What player rated top 20 or so on most boards do you think is most at risk of turning into a bust?
I think we should both give ours because I have one that immediately came to mind when I saw this.
Yeah.
Again, you can talk about certain players and other players, but I feel like one player that I see in the top 20 a lot, who I'll be real with you, and I'll be fair, I have him inside of my own top 20. This is how this is like authentic. I would say out of the top 20, the person I think has the highest chance of being a bust probably be Lyndon Lakovic, and I'll tell you why. The skating really isn't exactly where you would want it to be at this point. He's not putting out an offensive. He's not putting out the offensive production that you would want from a player who people talk about his like offensive caliber a lot, but it's not like elite, and the compete is not there most of the time. There are some times where he can turn it on. He can take over games. We've all seen it, but I feel like he's of the top 20, a very weak part of the top 20, and someone I feel could fall out of the top 20 and be considered kind of a bust if taken a little early. But if I had to pick somebody in the top 20. So
yeah, you know what? That's an interesting one. Because he's pretty high in he might be like in some cases he's like 10, 11, 12 I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, great discussions as always. The Blackwoods Hermit. Perhaps you could each pick a player you think has the potential to fall and one you think that can rise substantially from the consensus rankings on draft day.
I have two different answers here for these ones. I think this is pretty. I'm gonna go with two defensemen because I could go like at the easiest like softball and say Milton Gostrin, and everyone will be like, "Oh, okay." No,
you love your Milton Gostrin, eh?
I'll give you two defensemen. One that I think could rise, one that I think could fall. A lot of people have Kayshawn Aitchison dancing in and around outside the top 20. Some people have him around top 10. I think around draft day, people should not be surprised if he's taken 10 or around 10. I think he's somebody who people were talking about last year, Stian Solberg, as potentially like somebody who could creep into the top 20. And I never agreed with that because I never thought his defensive awareness was there. But Kayshawn Agerson, in my opinion, has a lot of the things that people were drawn to with Stian Solberg, and they're now appealing to me. Very physical game, a great shot, an offensive mindset, and he's just generally pretty competent defensively. I think there's another level he can get in his defensive game. I think he's somebody that is going to be very appealing to a general manager around the top 10. He might be somebody that is selected pretty high. I think he's a riser on draft day. In terms of fallers, I'll give you a defenseman. I've seen more and more people put Cameron Reed really high up on their lists. I have Cameron Reed high up on my list. Craig Button had him at 12. I'm not that high on him. Yeah. Cam Reed is definitely a first rounder for me. But again, it's very, very hard to go in the first round if you're under 6'1" as a defenseman. Very hard. Cameron Reed does have the offensive output, but I don't think he is somebody that is a lock to go on in day one. He could be a day two guy, and I feel like if anyone could fall, I think he's got a good chance to. So,
well, you stole my thunder because Reed was the guy that I was going to talk about too. So we both agree on Reed as a potential faller. Like you said, when you're 5'11", you got to be pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
In order to be selected pretty high, especially on day one. So, he's putting up decent numbers, but not explosive numbers.
Yeah.
So that's one that I agree with you on that. In terms of risers, who could rise? Well, for a riser, I'll go with Jack Nesbitt from the Spits, which is in my backyard, so I get to see him a lot. This kid's, it's a big kid. He got a point per game. I think that he's still got room to develop. That's one of those things. Even though he's a big kid, he's still kind of like not fully matured, I guess you could say. So I think that he's potentially someone that could rise. Like I see him in, the back half of the first round. I could see him floating around the mid first if everything goes well, especially in the playoffs right now, right?
Yeah.
He's in the playoffs. This is where you see their compete and whether they can keep up with that next level pace. So I'm gonna go with him.
I totally agree with you. I look at Jack Nesbitt, and the Charlie Coyle comparisons flash in my eyes very clearly. I would say again, he is another level to reach physically, but he's already physically imposing. This guy, again, he's on a line with Greentree and Belchitz, which is not fair to begin with. And he's the center, and being that tall, being physically imposing, 65 points in the OHL, it just screams top 20. It could be a top 20, could be 25.
Yeah, but like I said, he might not pan out though. It all depends, right?
We'll see. All right.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things. All right, let's see. Now it's a whole bunch of Flyers questions. So
boy. Back to the Flyers. Yeah.
Red River Wave. Great show, fellas, for the Flyers. Who's the projected two-way center to be drafted? Higgins? Or if he's gone by then, O'Brien, or just draft the best available player in the top 10. I know you got a little bit of flack for taking a smaller player in Eklund when we did our little mock last time. I think they should, if they're in the top 5, they got a choice of picking a pretty big centerman in someone like Frondel and Desnoyers, and you know what I mean? So I think that's who I would personally go with.
Yeah. Obviously, end goal is Misa.
I mean, come on.
Obviously, come on.
That's a top 2 pick right there.
Higgins, I would not feel bad about if he is somebody who ends up dropping, and that was someone I would run down the street and just be jumping for joy if the Flyers got Higgins. Frondel would be great. I think he is one of the unique players I think would pair really well with Michael Misa. I don't think he would stick at center. I think he would be more of a wing, which would again necessitate another center for the Flyers for the future. But again, Frondel I think would be a great pick. I really do like Desnoyers though. It's been really growing on me. I think Desnoyers, he's 6'2". Again, we can talk. You say this about O'Brien too, but Desnoyers is 6'2". He can grow into. He's taller than Frondel. He can grow into a bigger frame than Frondel. He's been finishing his checks. I don't know. He kind of screams Philly to me. I like Desnoyers. If I had a pick and Higgins and Misa were gone, I'm taking Denoyer. I'm not.
Well,
I'm not.
listen, the French Canadians do well in Flyers land. You know
They do.
this. Like, think of the past.
Simon Gagne.
Yeah.
Claude Giroux. Come
Yeah.
on.
That's
Bernie
right.
Perron.
You get the French Canadians do well in Philly. So, all right. So, next question we got for the fellow Flyer fan Linc. Hey, I'm a Flyers fan too there, but Danny Briere was talking about the possibility of bringing Luchenko onto the roster now that the season is over. Well, actually, they've already talked about that. And
he's in the AHL right now.
So I think that might be like a little, kind of like a litmus test, and then maybe bring him up for a couple games or so. What do you think? Depending on injuries and whatnot, and then the new coach too, right? I think it's.
I would say no. I'll say this because I think he's somebody that I think you just gotta ease him in because he was in the NHL and he didn't score any points, and I don't think that wasn't a bad thing. Obviously, the fact that he was able to get any NHL experience in 13th pick, where I didn't think he was going to be the 13th pick at all.
Yeah.
That's insane. In terms of his trajectory and career path, I think you keep him in Lehigh Valley for the rest of the year. Go on a playoff run with the boys. That's a good Lehigh Valley team. Let's be real. They're a pretty good team. They've got a lot of good talent on that roster. Eventually, actually, I don't think Bonk will ever be over on the roster. That maybe for a playoff run, but we'll see because that London Knights team is going deep.
They're always good.
Yeah, them and him and Denver Barkey. Would love them on the Phantoms, but Luchenko is, I guess, their number one center there now with Shernick and a bunch of other players. But yeah, I think just keep him at Lehigh Valley. Maybe bring him up for. I don't know. I don't think it's. I think it's just better if you just keep in Lehigh Valley and just the whole goal for this year is make the playoffs, do the best that you can in the playoffs, talk about the Flyers this summer. Because I think if you just give them like one goal to just try to dominate with the Phantoms, try to like engage with some of the younger players like that are going to be Flyers someday. I think that'd be a little bit better for his, I guess, future. So we'll see. I don't know.
Perfect. All right. And then the last question, Flyers second pick. Who's a target? Aitchison, Fiddler, or my favorite defenseman in the draft, Cameron Reed? All right. So what's your thoughts there, Linc?
Okay. So I'm going to quickly assume that we've taken a center with it's either Hagens, Misa, Frondell, Denoyer, and it's either going to be a wing, could be a defenseman. Like you said, Blake Fiddler could be around this range. I'm trying to think. I honestly, would it be crazy to take a flyer on Cullen Potter with the second pick again at 22?
If he makes it there, I mean, you know what? He might go a little bit earlier. What about someone like Logan Hensler might float that low?
Ooh, if Logan Hensler's there, I would be running up to the podium to get Logan Hensler at 22. If he's there at 22, I'm running. I'm running. I'm sprinting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's no podium to sprint up to now. It's
oh yeah, that's right.
Well, so I don't know. I think a second pick. I think a defenseman would be ideal. Cullen Potter, but if you get like an offensive talent like Cullen Potter, like
I think it all depends on how things shake out for sure. But yeah, that'd be a fun one though. Oh, that's great questions as usual. People, come on, keep them coming.
Yeah, keep them coming. We are not just we're not just a Flyers podcast. So if you're a Blackhawks fan, a Sharks fan, Habs fans, let us know who your favorite team is, and we'll tell you who we think they're going to pick or who they should pick. Or
that's a good idea. I like that.
Or just watch the mock draft that comes out Sunday.
Yeah,
either or, whatever you want.
It's going to be unreal tomorrow, people. Tomorrow, mock draft time is going to be fun.
It's going to be super fun.
Great special guests.
Yeah. Speaking of great questions, love the questions.
Love it. You know what? Always, it's a blast.
I think these ones were some of the best. I really enjoyed these questions. So yeah. I was excited. I was texting you about it on the plane.
All right. And that's it for today. So tomorrow, be ready. Mock draft in effect, top 32 with a bunch of fellow hockey nerds. So yes, it's going to be fun. And that's it for today, Linc. Good seeing you, buddy.
Good seeing you too. Very, very awesome podcast today. We got through a lot, and we got through one of my favorites, introduced Justin Carbonneau. Super excited.
All right. We'll see you soon, everyone. Cheers.